Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. This is Ned from Caspio. If you're able to hear me okay, please let me know in the chat window and we can go ahead and begin today's presentation. So if you are able to hear me, let me know. Always like to get that out of the way before we begin. So I'll just wait for somebody to confirm that my audio is working correctly and we will go ahead and begin. Hey Darlene, thank you for confirming that. Hey Brian. Hey, welcome everyone else, loud and clear, good. Hey Steve, Greg, good, all right. Hope you guys are having a good Monday. We have a lot of content to cover today. As you know from the title, we're gonna build a multi-user, multi-tenant application, SaaS type application. And the topic that I picked for today's application is to find personal trainers near you. And then as a trainer, we're able to sign up, log in and manage our clients. Couple of things to mention before I begin showing you how to develop this entire application is it took me 2 days to build all of this. And today we're going to attempt to condense all of it in 1 hour, which might seem like a monumental undertaking, but nevertheless, we're going to attempt to do this and see how it goes. I have 16 data pages to develop today. And given the limited time that we have, hopefully we can do all of it in time. We might exceed 1 hour by about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll see. And the main goal of today's live stream is to get through all the functionality, and if time permits at the very end, we're going to work on some aesthetics, okay, the look and feel and polishing up the data pages. But let me give you a quick demo of the application so that you know exactly what we plan on developing. I downloaded this template off the internet. It's a free template. I had to make a few modifications to make room for our data pages. So when I downloaded the template, I usually use Notepad++ to modify each one of my web pages. And I work directly inside of code to be able to modify my div elements, my tables, my content. As you can see from the original template, this button here in the middle, I don't know if you can see, but it says Get Started. I had to rename that button here on the home page to Find a Trainer. Okay, so that's why here on my website, you're able to see Find a Trainer. Okay, I also use my FTP client. I use WinSCP, which is a Windows-based client, to upload my files to my server so that we can publish each one of these web pages online. So the files that you see here on the left-hand side are stored locally on my computer, and I've already published these web pages to my server, and that's why you're able to see those live. Caspio owns this domain, sumapp.com, so that's why here on the web you're able to see sumapp.com. We use that web page to test all of our applications that we're developing internally. So let me give you a quick rundown of this application. So here on the home page, we're able to look for trainers. And I'm doing a distance search here on the application based on the zip code, using a distance 5 miles to 100 miles, just a simple radius search. So if I type in my, let's say my zip code, and let's say we do any distance, and I hit search, I'm able to see 4 different trainers. We are also calculating the distance from that zip code. I can go to the trainer's profile. I can review the profile. If I like this specialization, certification, and the bio, maybe I can send this trainer a message. Once I submit that message, the trainer will be notified via email, and they're going to be able to log into their account. But before I log in, as a trainer, we also have the ability to sign up for the account. You can treat that as a free 30-day trial, and then if they like the application and all of the functionality, maybe they can sign up for a monthly fee or annual payment plan to continue using the service. Let's go ahead and sign in. And we're going to log in as Sam Reed, which is my demo user. And once logged in, we're going to be taken to a dashboard. And here I'm able to see how many people have seen my profile, which is pretty cool. If I go back to the home page and let's say we look for Sam once again, and if I click on that profile, now that should increase to 8. So if I go back to the dashboard, you will see profile views 8. So it's just a nice way for the trainer to see how many people have seen their profile. We have 6 clients. As you can see down below, we have 6 clients. We've had 4 sessions. Sessions are basically workouts. So when a client comes in for a workout, we treat that as a session. And right now we only have 1 message. If I send another message to Sam Reed, right, and we go here to send a message, we can just say something really quickly here. A.com, random phone number, hit submit. Again, I get an email in real time, and now you can see 2 messages. We have a pivot table here that's displaying me how many sessions by user or by client. So we can see that Debbie has had the most sessions. And I don't know if this is a good metric to have, but I just included average weight for each one of the clients, because when they come in for workouts, let's say they have a goal of losing weight or gaining muscle weight, I'm just calculating at average weight. I don't have a lot of experience in the fitness industry, so I'm just, thinking that I was thinking about this myself when I was building the application. What would be a good metric to track? So I just picked average weight. Here we can manage clients. All right, so there's Debbie. I can go to the details, and I can view the client details here in the upper left with the total BMI, body mass index. So let's say Debbie comes in for another visit, and let's say we're tracking this BMI on a weekly basis. So I can edit the details, and let's say Debbie lost some weight, 125. We hit update, and we can see what happens to our chart. So I think it's good to be able to track the BMI over time for our clients if the goal is to decrease the BMI over time. If Debbie comes in for a new workout, we can add a new session here. We can submit the form. So let's say today's date. Today's weigh-in can be 122, and we can just input the workout details. Now, I could have taken this a step further, actually, because typically when a client comes in for a session, each session can have multiple workouts, right? So we can log using a drop-down. It can be squats, it can be curls, and then we can also track weight, reps, repetition, and also additional notes. I didn't go that far because I don't have enough time in today's live stream to build all of that. But if you were to do something like that, you would simply add another button here, add a workout. Okay, so when you click on the button, it takes you to a submission form. And here you can have a drop-down that says squats, curls, bench press, and any other workout that you want to track. You can say how much weight, reps, notes, hit submit, and then you're going to be able to have many workouts per session. Okay. We can also add a new client. Okay, so if somebody wants to work out with us, we can fill out that form, and I can see the messages. All right, including the one that we just submitted just a moment ago, and this is the one that I had from before. And last but not least, as a trainer, we can update our profile, and we can choose to publish our profile in the directory. If I uncheck this and hit update, our profile will no longer be visible in the directory for other people to find us. Okay, so that's what we're going to attempt to build today. We have 16 data pages to create. So I've never tried anything like this before, but nevertheless, we're going to attempt to do this and see how far we can get. Here are my web pages that I'm going to use in today's live stream. You can see how when I click on the button, I need to deploy my data pages. So none of the data pages have been deployed yet. So we're going to build all of this from scratch. Let me log into my account. And let's, oh, wrong account. Give me a second. Casper. Here we go. So here's the live one that I just demonstrated, and we're going to be building our application inside this container here. So let me open it. Now, for the interest of time, I didn't want to build the tables from scratch because that would have taken at least 30 minutes. So I already have all my tables here created. I'm going to go through each table one at a time so that you can see what we're doing, and then we're going to slowly build our data pages. So let's begin with the trainer table. And also today's live stream is going to be a little bit fast-paced, okay, just because we have a lot of data pages to build, but don't fret. The video will be available on our YouTube channel, and you can watch this at a later time at your own pace. So we need a unique ID. That's a random ID. We have first name, last name, full name, email, and password. Those are all standard fields because we need the trainers to be able to create their password. Account status is going to allow us to make trainers active or inactive. And then we're basically just tracking information that we want them to be able to update. So their specialization, education, certification, bio. We also want them to be able to provide a profile photo, city, state, and zip. Profile status. So this is for the trainer to be able to choose if they want their profile to appear in the directory or not. Okay, so that's the checkbox that we just looked at. And then we also have one more checkbox for the admin. So when the trainer chooses to publish their profile, there's one more step. We want the admin to be able to review the profile, And if everything looks good, then we can publish the profile, because we don't want them to submit some bogus information or something that's not really fitness related, right? So let's come back here. Date signed up. And then I also have profile views. And I use a number data type for this because we're going to do a count on the profile views. That's why in my dashboard, we were able to see how many times people have viewed a certain profile. Okay. And that's a built-in feature in Caspio. The second table we're going to look at is messages. Each trainer can be linked to many messages, so it's a one-to-many. So we have our primary key, we have our foreign key, which is the trainer ID, name of the person submitting the message, message itself, phone, email, and date sent. Very simple. Each trainer can also be linked to many clients, also a one-to-many. So now let's take a look at the clients table. So we have the client ID, trainer ID, first name, last name, full name, email, phone, goals, height in feet, height in inches, weight, and total BMI. We're going to be calculating that BMI, and you'll see the formula that we're going to use to calculate that BMI. And then we have date created. We have sessions, because each client can have many sessions. If I come in for a workout, I need to be able to record that session. So let's take a look at that table. Okay, primary key, always add the primary key at the top. We have our client ID. We need to be able to stamp the client's ID into the sessions table. That's how we're able to link our sessions back to our clients. Trainer ID, I need to know which trainer submitted that session. And then we have session date, weigh-in, workout details, and full name. I also want to stamp the full name of the client inside the sessions table, because when I build my chart later on, it's going to be easier to display the name as opposed to the ID of the client. Okay, so next, the table that you're going to need here, if you're planning on doing a radius search, okay, which is what I showed you just a few moments ago, you're going to need this lookup table for USA zip codes. And Caspio's team has this table. It contains over 40,000 entries, but it has all the zip codes for the US, including the long and lat. And you're going to be basically using this table to check against the zip code that you provide in that text field. So if you put in your own zip code, you're going to run it against this table, and that's how we're able to find that zip code and also be able to do calculation in distance, how far you are from that zip code using long and lat. Okay, so this table is available. Just check with our team if you want the table. They can send this table to you via email, and then you can just import this table into your account. And the final table that I have is a history log table. Hopefully you guys know how to build this trigger. I teach this in the advanced session on Thursdays. But every time you make a change to a client, we are storing that change inside a history table of all the logs here. Okay, so if I update the client's information, we store that update inside a history log table, and the trigger is built on this table here, which is the inserted table. Let me click edit. So here's a very simple trigger that if you insert and update something in the clients table, you're also inserting that information into history log table from the inserted table. And then you're simply mapping out the fields and copying that data over to your history log table. Okay, so those are the tables. We have one view, which simply filters out active trainers because we only want active people to log into the application. We have one authentication, okay, which is using the view that's filtering active trainers. And I've created a few styles. So when I build my applications, I have a tendency of creating a style for each data page that I build. Not always, but you can see I have 16 data pages and I have about, I think, 8 styles that I'm using throughout my application. Only because when I apply a certain style to one data page, and let's say I have a second form that could look slightly different, then I like to create a second style for that specific data page. If I'm isolating a specific element on my form, and I only want to apply a specific style to that field, then I will just build a separate style for that. You could use one style for all of your data pages if you'd like, but depending on what your template gives you, you might have to, change the style slightly to fit that window where you plan on embedding your data page. All right, so let's begin. I'm not using Weebly, so that's a good question, okay? This is not using Weebly, okay? I am basically using my own, I edit my own HTML files locally, Okay, so because I do understand HTML and CSS, I like to open up each web page here locally, and I can modify my HTML, my navigation menu, the content on my website. And then as you can see here, I always leave some room for my data pages. So this is where I plan on embedding the signup form in just a minute. And then once I paste my Caspio code here, I'll use my FTP client to move that signup page over to the server so that we can publish that web page. Okay, so this is not using Weebly. This is just me building these web pages locally or modifying them and then just publishing each web page online with the Caspio host, because Caspio owns this domain, someapp.com. So this is going to go directly into the Caspio server. Okay. So let's begin. I'm going to need to build two folders here. So let's have one folder for public-facing data pages and one folder for trainers. And let's begin by building that sign-up form. Okay, so we're going to build a new data page. Submission form, hit next. Data source is going to be the trainers table. And let's call this sign-up form. I do have a specific style for that. I call it sign-up. Localization is going to be English. It's going to be a public-facing data page, so let's continue. And now what fields do we want to have on this sign-up form? So first name, last name, email, password, account status, and the rest of the information we're going to include in the update form. Okay, you never want to overwhelm the end user initially when they're filling out the registration form. Just keep it minimum to a few fields, but once they log in, you can give them access to all the other fields for them to fill out. Okay, we want to get them to the door quickly, and then once they log in, they're going to be able to fill out the entire profile. Next, let me include a simple heading here. Okay, we're going to do H2. And let's call this Start Your 30-Day Trial. And close the H2 tag. Again, as I said before, we're not going to focus on the aesthetics. Okay, we're just going to be looking at the functionality, but if the time permits at the end of the class today, we'll come back and we'll modify some of these fields. I know that in my live version, what I did was I put first and last name side by side, so I would just say continue next element on the same line. No label, and I'm just going to put my label as a placeholder. First name, last name, no label, no label, and now both of these two fields are going to be side by side. The rest of the fields, what I usually like to do is use placeholder on the sign-up form, so you'll say email, no label, and I know that my pixels here is 568, I remember that width, and the rest of them I can do the same thing. So password field, text field, we'll say minimum password strength. We have confirm password, and in the advanced tab, we'll say create password. We'll say confirm password, no label, and the width here is going to be 568. And account status is going to be a hidden field and checked by default, meaning as soon as they submit the form, they're going to be active in the table and they're going to be immediately be able to log into the application. If you don't want them to log in right away, let's say you have a buffer, let's say admin needs to approve their registration info, leave this unchecked, okay? And then in the table or in the data page later on, you can check their account so they can log in. I think it's best to just give them the ability to log in right away. Okay, there's no harm in that. Okay? You're just reducing friction and you want them to have a seamless experience. And then on the next screen, you can modify your confirmation message. You can say you have successfully signed up, log in to complete your profile, something like that. Hit finish. Here's my data page. Let's deploy it. Grab our embed code in my Notepad++. By the way, you guys can download Notepad++ if you guys are comfortable editing your own HTML files locally on your computer. Every time you download a template online, it comes zipped. You can unzip the folder, and then you're going to be able to see all the HTML files, and you can open up all the HTML files in Notepad++ to be able to review the document. This is my web page called Signup. I'm just going to paste my Caspio code right there, save, and then using my FTP client, I am going to move my Signup web page to the web like that. Let's override it. And now when I go back to my website, right over here, and I click on Signup, I should be able to see that submission form. Okay, very simple. And I think it looks very much like the one over here. Let me sign out here and go to sign up if I missed something. I also had confirm email here. In this example, I didn't do confirm email, but you could have confirm email if you want to as well. Okay. Next up, let's create the login. So our trainers can log into the account, be redirected to our dashboard page, and then from there, we're going to work on the update profile. So we are going to work on the sign-in page next. So back in Caspio, inside this folder here, we're going to build a new data page. And this time I'm going to use an HTML data page. When I build my applications, I always like to use one line of script that redirects my user from the login screen to the web page that I want them to be able to go to. Okay, and it's a very simple one line of script. We're going to call this trainer redirect. Okay, I'm going to use my style here, sign up. I'm going to use the same style. English localization, restrict access to our authentication that we have coming from this object here. We're going to hit next. And again, one line of code that's needed here. Script window.location equals, and then we're going to be redirecting to a page called dashboard.html, and we're going to close our script. Okay, so there it is. We're going to save that, and let's deploy that data page to our sign-in page right over here. And the whole idea here is once the user signs in, they're going to be taken to this page automatically. So it's just a simple redirect from one web page to another. Okay, so now on my website, when I go to sign in, oh, I need to actually publish that page. So my apologies. Let me go ahead and move that page so it's live. Okay. And then on the web, we're going to reload. Let me click away, click back in here. Should be able to see the login screen. And there it is. Okay. Very simple login screen. Now when I log in, let's say it's Sam Reed, and we log in, we are taken to this page called dashboard.html. Very simple redirect. Okay. The next data page that we're going to build is the profile page. I should be able to update my profile as a trainer. Okay, so back in Caspio, new data page. You see I have a tendency always going back here. In the previous UI, the link was over here. So my mouse cursor always ends up going this way. I gravitate that way because I'm used to it. And then I always swing back this way because now the button's up here. So create a new data page. Okay, so we need to build an update form. We're going to hit next based on the trainer table. And let's call this update profile. Same style. Actually, yeah, let's see what else I have here. Update profile. We're going to use this one. English localization. Call it update profile. Restrict access to our trainers. Click next. Okay, so we need to be able to update our information. So we need to set the RLS here for trainer ID to trainer ID. That's how we're going to be able to see our own data. We're going to hit next. And now we just need to figure out what fields we want the trainers to be able to update. So give them the ability to update first name, last name, email, password. Not the account status. This is actually for the admin. Specialization, ed, certification, bio, profile photo, city, state, zip, profile status, admin profile status, date registered, and we don't need to see profile views. So let's continue. I'm going to add a simple heading here. H2. Oops. Update profile. Close the H2 tag, and then first name. It's going to be text field. Make that required. Last name, same thing. So we just have to go through each field, make them editable. Password. Show password strand. Specialization can be a text area. Education, same thing. Certification, same thing. Bio, same thing. So these are all text areas. Profile picture. So we can maybe move this field to the top. Okay, so that can go first. And let's have this be file. and let's display it as an image, and let's set the width to maybe 175 pixels. Leave the height empty, because if you choose, let's say, width 175 by 175, and the original image that was uploaded was rectangular, it's going to skew that image. It won't look right. It'll look disproportionate if it's not in the same width and height. So I always like to leave the height empty here. Let me see if there's anything else. I think we're good. First name, last name, email, password. Okay. So let's do city, state, which can also be a drop-down, zip code. And then for profile status, we're going to leave this to be a checkbox. And then we're going to say check to publish profile. Okay. I don't need the label here because this text is going to appear after my checkbox. So there's really no need for a label. So I'm going to go to the advanced tab and just say no label. Okay. And then admin profile is also going to be a checkbox. And we're going to, hidden field. And we're going to leave this unchecked. Okay. So when they choose to update their profile or publish their profile, in the table, this checkbox is going to be unchecked because the admin needs to review the profile, and then admin will check that box, and then now finally we're going to be able to see that profile listed in the directory. Okay. And one more thing we're going to do here is when they check to publish the profile, we want to create some conditional rules here using the rules tab to make sure they filled out all the required fields that we need them to fill out before they can publish the profile. Okay, so we're going to build a simple rule here based on that field, profile status. So if the profile status is checked, I need to make sure that the image field is required because I need them to submit the image before they publish the profile. So this is going to be a required field now. Let's also require a few other fields. So specialization, we want them to be able to add that as well. Require education. Require certification, and definitely require the bio. Okay, and you can make other fields required as well. Also, one more that's required is going to be the zip code, because if you remember, we have the radius search on the home page, so people need to be able to find these trainers by their zip code. So that's going to be a required field. Okay, then you can customize your confirmation message, but for now, let's hit finish, and let's deploy this data page. Grab our embed code. Notepad++. Here is my, I think I'm using this as my profile. Yeah, this is my profile page. So we're going to just deploy that here. Save. And then using my FTP client, we are going to publish that profile page to the web. And let's test this out. All right, so I need to make some modifications to this page. Obviously, it's not cleaned up, but as I mentioned before, we're just focusing on the functionality here, not the aesthetics. And now I can check to publish my profile. Okay, if I uncheck that, you can see how some of these fields are no longer required, including my photo field. So if I do check to make this public, we're checking against these fields to make sure they're required before this profile is published in the directory. Okay. All right, next data page. Let's create this one where we can add a new client. Okay, so back into my account, new data page, submission form, hit next. That's based off of the clients table. I'm going to call this new client. And we're going to call, let's see which one I have for this. So we're going to use sign up, English, restrict access, hit next. And now what fields do we need to have in the form? Let's have the trainer ID, first name, last name, email, phone, goals, height, and we need all of that, and date created. So for trainer ID, we're going to make this field hidden. Okay, and in the advanced tab, we're going to be basically using the authentication method, we can stamp the trainer's ID. So when we add this client to our clients table, we're automatically stamping the trainer ID into that table. That's how we associate our clients back to our trainers. And then we have first name, which you can make required. Last name, same thing. Email is going to be form element email. Phone, you can also make that required if you'd like. It's completely up to you. Goals is going to be a text area. And now let's do height in feet, height in inches, weight, and total BMI. So that's going to be a required field. That's going to be a required field. Weight's going to be a required field. And then for total BMI, we're going to do a calculation here. calculated field. Now, I'm using Notepad here. I'm going to be using a lot of this code that you see here to paste into my data pages today. Okay, because it would have taken me a long time in the live stream to code all this out for you guys, but this is nothing you guys haven't seen before. If you've attended my previous live stream on SQL and modifying HTML and CSS, you know exactly what's happening here. It's very simple. These are going to be used for my dashboard to create my boxes, some simple SQL to calculate data from our table, and then here is my equation to calculate the BMI. You can find this on Google if you like, and you can just use this in Caspy. I'm just going to copy that and paste that right over here. And you can see I'm using my weight field, height field in feet, and height field in inches. Verify it. Looks good. Hit finish. Actually, let me go back and edit that one more time. There was one more field that I needed to edit, which is date created. So let's make this be a timestamp. And now let's hit finish. So I'll deploy my form. Okay, let me find that web page, new client. Here it is. Paste my Caspio code, and let's make that web page live. Where is new client? New client, there it is. Move it here, reload, and let's make sure it's there. There it is. Okay, I forgot to add my heading, but you could add a heading here if you'd like. And now you can add a client. You can also calculate the BMI. So if you put in the height in feet and inches and you put your weight, hopefully nobody weighs that much. There's my BMI. And then you can submit that form and you're going to be able to add that client as Sam Reed. So I think the next data page that we want to create is the ability to see clients, or we can manage clients here, which makes the most sense. So let me come back here and create a brand new data page. Does anyone have any questions? I know I'm speeding through this very quickly, so I understand if you guys are not able to keep up. I do apologize for that, but this is my first time attempting to do something like this. If you guys like the format, I can definitely do more of these types of applications in the future. But hopefully today's live stream does assume that you guys have a moderate understanding of Caspio so that you can follow along and know exactly what I'm doing. So just let me know if my pacing is good, if you guys would like me to slow down. We still have quite a few data pages to create. And a lot of it might seem repetitive because we have to just build additional data pages and go through all of those screens. So hopefully everyone is following along okay. Okay, so let's build our report. We're going to go to tabular format, hit next, based off of the clients table. Let's call this manage clients. All right, we're going to use the style that I've created, which is called filter button. I'm going to use English, restrict access to the same authentication, hit next, and let's have a search form, display the results on the initial load, and we need to restrict access to our trainers. Okay, we use RLS here. In order for the trainer to be able to see their clients, we have to use RLS to only filter out the clients belonging to that specific trainer. So let's hit next. All right, so the fields that we want to use on this search form, let's have first name, last name, email, and phone. You can include other fields if you'd like, but just for the interest of time, let's have 4 fields. Hit next. Actually, let me go back here just for a moment. Yeah, let's have first name, last name this way. All right. So what I'll do here is I'll put all of these search fields in 4 columns. Okay. I like to use the checkbox here, continue next element on the same line. I'm going to say no label, and here in the placeholder, I'll say first name, last name, no label, email, no label, and phone, no label. Now there's more stuff that you can do here. You can use contains if you're looking to do more like a keyword search. So if you type in a letter and you hit search, it's going to return all of the first names that contain that letter. But let me just show you one more thing for RLS. I'm going to use a drop down here. Let's actually use a drop down on the email field. Okay, sorry, not drop down. Let's use autocomplete. All right, autocomplete is like Google search. If you type in a letter, you're going to see options underneath that field of what's available in the table for you to select. So it's kind of like Google search. We're going to use contains. Also here, we're going to use contains. And then for security, very important here is to check this box and limit lookup values based on the trainer ID. So in that dropdown, when you're seeing the list of emails, instead of seeing emails that belong to other trainers, you're only going to see the emails for your clients. Okay, because we're using RLS here on that field. Okay, let's continue. Actually, no, let's also add, very important, is to add an HTML block here as well. And after the phone field, we're going to say continue next element on the same line. And inside this HTML block, what I'm doing is I'm hiding the search button in the style, because I would like to create a custom search button here and put it in the same row as my phone number field. Okay, so let me go back to let me disable this first. Let me go back to my notepad and let me find my button. So here it is. We're going to copy that, paste that here. So don't be intimidated by what you see here. Really, it's just an input type submit button value. So inside a button, it's going to say filter. And I'm using a background color on the button. So this is my background color. And I'm just applying a few more styles to my button. Okay. Height of the button, 40 pixels. We have some padding that's around the text inside the button. And also you can see the cursor pointer. So when you hover over the button, it changes it to a hand instead of a mouse icon. Okay. Or a cursor icon. So let's hit next. And then on the results page, so let's see what information we want to display here. Let's have first name, last name, email, phone. Let me see what I'm displaying here in my live example, just so that we can copy the same information. I'm displaying first name, last name, email, phone, and date created. Okay. First name, last name, phone, email, and date created. Hit next. No editing capability here. Let's continue. And then what we need to do to the results page, we need to add an HTML block. Let's disable. Well, we don't have to disable it. Let's just create that hyperlink to take us to the details of a client. So we're going to say view details, highlight the link, click on the link button, and then we're going to go to the page called view details, I believe. Let me see what I called it. View. I think I call it client details. Yeah, that's the web page that I'm redirecting to. So client details. .html question mark, and we're going to pass the client's ID. So CID equals, and we need to pass the client ID to the next page. The reason why we pass the client ID to the next page is so we can stamp the client ID into the sessions table so that we can link our sessions back to our clients. Hit OK. I think I'm going to have to remove this just to keep the path relative. Okay, so I need to remove the HTTP here in the front because the path is going to remain relative because it's all in the same directory. All right, let me see if I want to pass anything else. I don't think I need to pass anything else. I think we're good with that. And let's go ahead and hit next. Let's display 25 at a time. Let's hit next, and let's disable the details page and click finish. Okay, so now what we're going to do is deploy this. Grab our embed code, and let's go to the web page called Manage Clients. What did we call that page? We called it Clients. And we're going to go ahead and just paste that here. Save, and let's publish it. So reload this. Clients, move that to the right. And let's see what it looks like. All right. So one thing that I'm forgetting to add is my heading, but you can easily add a heading to any one of your data pages. So now we have the ability to search, and we can go to details, which should take me to client details. And now on this web page, we need to build 3 data pages. Okay. Do I have slides? I don't have any slides, Mike. Slides in terms of following along with the live stream, what I'm doing here. I don't know what slides exactly you're hoping for, but just let me know. I can. What I was planning on doing afterwards in the description of the video, I was going to provide you guys with some notes and also the template, the same template that you can download if you want to practice. So I will make a lot of this available for you guys to download and use at a later time. All right, so now let's work on the details page. Okay, so when I go to this page, I would like to be able to see the client's details. So back under data pages, how many have we created so far? We have 5, which means we have 11 more to go. Good luck. Create a data page, reports. Let's go with the details view. Hit next. So that's based off of the clients table. That makes sense, right? Because all the client information is inside that table. Let's call this view details. Forgot what style I used here. Let's use client. Oh, I think it's this one here, client detail. English, restrict access, and then continue. Now we're going to filter the client details because I'm passing the client ID from the previous web page inside the URL. So if you look here, I passed the client's ID. This data page now needs to receive that ID. Okay, so we're going to hit next. Client ID becomes my filtering field. We're going to hit next. And in the advanced tab, we're going to receive that value externally as CID. That was the name of my parameter. Value is going to be required. Okay, we're going to hit next. And for now, what I like to do, I like to customize my details page. You could include regular fields if you'd like, but let me show you a different way of doing the details page. I'm going to include my first name, just one field. We're going to hit next. And now in the details page, I'm going to add my HTML block. And what you could do is you can actually customize your own look and feel for the details view, right, using inside the HTML block. And then you can use the fields as parameters to include them inside the details view. Now, I'm going to disable my HTML editor, go back to my notepad, and find what I used inside that HTML block. So hopefully nobody finds this too daunting to create. It's really not that difficult. I'm going to paste that here. Just a simple div tag. I'm using a background color, border radius, and I'm including all of my fields inside the details view, which is going to give it a nice effect. Okay, and now what I would like to do is basically hide this field first name. I don't need to display that, but you have to include one field. It's mandatory inside a platform to at least include one field. I'm going to add one HTML block above it and just simply say div style equals display none. Okay, we're going to close that div tag, one more div, and then underneath the first name, we're going to add one more HTML block and simply just close those two div tags like this. Div and div. So all I'm doing is hiding that field. That's all I'm doing here. Nothing fancy. Okay. And then above my details page, if you look at my live example, when we go to details, I have this button up here called edit details because I need to be able to edit the client's details at any time. So here in the heading, let me just add one more HTML block here at the top. I'm going to disable my HTML editor and I'm just going to create a very simple link. Ahref equals, let me see what I call that web page. I think I called it edit details. Yeah, edit details. That's the name of that web page. So edit details dot HTML question mark. And now we're going to pass the client ID once again. CID equals @CID. Close that, and let's call this edit details and close the A tag. You can also add your heading if you'd like. So just add H2. Client details and close your H2 for the heading. And underneath the heading, we're going to see that link. So when we click on that link, we go to this web page where we can edit the client's details. Okay, so let's close that. Let's deploy it. Actually, let me first move this inside my folder. So let me move that into my trainer folder. All right, so client details, view details, deploy. Grab the embed code, same as before. Just find your web page. So it's called client details, and here's the deploy placeholder. Save, and let's publish this. Reload. Client details, here we go. All right, let's see what it looks like. So let's reload. And there's the client details. So I have a nice gray background color. I'm using a border radius. I put a darker gray border around it. I'm displaying my information, and here's that link to edit the details. Okay. The next thing we're going to build is when I click on this link to edit the client's details, it's going to take me to this page called Edit Details, and here I need to build my update form to be able to update the client's details. Okay. So let's build that data page next. Okay, we're going to build a details data page. We're going to hit next. Based off of the clients table, Let's call it edit client details. Same style. I used the details, English localization, restrict access, and continue. Once again, I need to receive the client ID in order to be able to edit that client's details. So let's filter, hit next. Client ID is your filtering field, hit next. And in the advanced tab, we're simply going to receive that externally. Sorry, not authentication, but externally. And the parameter name was CID. Value must be required. We're going to hit next. And now what information do we want to update for our client? So let's update the first name, last name, email, phone, goals, height. So same fields basically. Date created, you don't need to update. That's a timestamp. Okay, so that field is going to be a text field, edit the email, phone we can edit, goals we can edit. We should be able to edit the height, weight, and the total BMI is automatically going to be calculated, so we need to include a calculated value. And once again, I need to grab my formula that calculates the BMI. Same exact thing as before in the update form. Hit next. Oh, before I hit next, let's add our heading. Let's just make this look a little bit nicer. We're going to add our heading. Whoops. We're going to say H2. And we're going to say edit client details. Close the H2. And let's create a back button as well. So when we go to that update form, we would like to be able to go back to the client's details page. Okay, so ahref equals client details.html question mark, and we need to pass the parameter back. CID, close that, close that, close that, and just say back. Okay. In the destination page, let's disable navigate to the next previous record. We don't want that. Let's hit next. And here, once you hit update on that details view, I would like to automatically go back to the client details. So once again, we're going to redirect to a new page, and we're going to say client details.html question mark CID equals, and then CID, and keep the path relative. Okay. Let me take a look at my question here. So a good question actually here. So hopefully that wasn't false advertisement. A lot of stuff that you build in Caspio actually can be built using no code, honestly, but a little bit of low code is usually not needed, but it's welcome because you can style the application a little bit more just to beautify it and make it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Could I have done all of this with no code? Yes. But because I want to show you guys how you can make things look a little bit prettier, that's why I use some low coding. This is really not that complex. Hopefully you don't find this to be too overwhelming. That's a fair point. I do understand where you're coming from with that question. Let me take a look at the follow-up here. Caspio has a bunch of default style templates you can choose from. It is a little difficult to style if you don't know basics. That's very true. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to style things if you don't have just a basic background. But can I build this all without coding? Maybe we can tackle that in the next live stream. I can show you how we can do all of this without the actual coding. I could use Weebly, which is a no-code way of building a website. I know I'm showing you guys my HTML files here, but it's easier for me to do it that way as opposed to embedding into Weebly. But I could have used Weebly as well. It would have been a lot easier. But you know, just know that I could have done all of this without actually any code, except for something like this, which I don't really consider to be too much coding. It's just a simple link to redirect the user to a specific web page. Okay. So yeah, good, fair comment. I do appreciate that. I apologize if you felt like that was misleading. But a lot of what we do in these live streams is somewhat technical. I always like to show people how with just a little bit of coding knowledge you can actually spruce up the application and make it look much nicer. But that's a fair point. Okay. Let me go ahead and hit finish now. And let's go ahead and embed edit client details into our web page. So we're going to copy that deploy code, find the page, edit details, and just paste our deploy code here. Let's go ahead and publish that. So reload. So where is my edit details? Here it is. Let's move that to the right. And let's take a look. So I'll edit or refresh, and now I can edit Debbie's details. Or I can go back to the previous page. Okay, so at any time, if I go to a different client, let's say we go to Corey, I can edit Corey's details at any time using that data page. Or I can go back to manage clients. All right, let's continue. We have a few more data pages to build. Next one that we're going to create is the ability to view sessions per client. So the next data page we're going to create is going to be based off a table that contains all of the sessions. So let's go with the Tabular Report, hit next, sessions, and let's call this view sessions. Let's see, what did I use here for my style? I believe I used the filter button one. Okay, so let's use that one. English, restrict access, hit next. And no need to search data. We just want to be able to display the sessions. We're going to display those sessions for that specific trainer ID. Okay, so we're going to filter the sessions based on the trainer that's logged in. Hit next, and then we're going to filter them based on the client ID, because the report also needs to receive that client ID. We're going to hit next. In the advanced tab, we're going to receive that value externally. The parameter name was CID. Value required. Hit next. And now on the results page, let's see what information we want to display. So let's go ahead and display the session date, weigh-in, workout details, and I think that's all the information I need to display. Hit next. We can allow the trainer to edit information using inline edit. You can also allow the trainer to delete sessions if you'd like. I'm not going to do that. Let's hit next. Let me include a header and footer. And here in the header section, I need to create a link or a button that's going to allow me to add a session for that specific client. So if you look at my live example here, I need to create this link to add a new session. So ahref equals, and let me see what I called that web page. I think I called it news or add a session. Okay. So add session .html question mark. Once again, CID equals, and we're going to receive our CID and pass it to the subsequent page. And then let's call this new session and close the A tag. So I'm just creating a simple link here. When I click on that link, we go to this page. We pass the client's ID to that page so that we can submit a session for that specific client. Okay. You can also add a heading if you'd like. So let's do that. Might as well. H2, view sessions. And we're going to close our H2 heading. All right, hit next, next, no details page, and finish. All right, so let's deploy this one. View sessions, grab our embed code, copy it. And it's on that same web page called details, client details, right? So here is my view sessions placeholder, paste, and using my FTP client, let's push that file to the web. So let's override the client details once again. Override that, and now when I go back to my website, I should be able to see the sessions listed down below that belong to Debbie. Okay, and then from here, if I want to add a new session for Debbie, I can click on the link. It's going to take me to that page called Add Session, and now I need to build my form to add session for Debbie. Okay. All right, let's try it out. So let's come back to our Caspio account. Let's build that data page. We need a submission form. We're going to hit next based off of the sessions table. And let's call this add new session. And I'm going to use my style that I use for sign up, English localization, restrict access, and continue. So I need all of my fields on the form. So let's move them all to the right. The client ID we're receiving, when we click on that link, we're passing the client ID. So now I need to receive that client ID. Okay. And we're going to receive that externally, and we're going to need CID because that was the name of my parameter. You don't need to display this as a text field. Once you receive that value, you can just make that field hidden. There's no reason for you to display the ID because you don't want your end user to tamper with that information. The trainer ID, we're going to use the authentication method, okay, to stamp the trainer's ID. So here we're going to make that field hidden. Use the authentication field method to stamp the trainer's ID into the sessions table. Session date can be a required field. Weigh-in can be a required field. Workout details is also most likely going to be a required field. And for full name, we're going to make that field hidden as well. And stamp. Where's my full name? I wanted to stamp the full name from my trainer table. But for some reason, I'm not seeing the full name field here. Okay, I'll take a look at that later. I wanted to stamp the full name here as well. I'll take a look at that later, why it's not displaying my full name here to stamp it. So what I'll do for now, we're going to just stamp the first name. Let me just think for a second why it's not doing that. All right, that's fine. Let's just stamp the first name. All right, and also here what you can do is you can create another heading. And you can just say H2, add session, close the H2 tag, and then also on that submission form, let's say you wanted to go back to the details, you can again create another hyperlink here and just say client details.html and just pass the parameter back to the details page, and let's call this back and a tag. Finish, and let's deploy it. So where is my add new session? There it is. Grab our embed code, copy it, back to our web page, and let's see, we call that add session. Deploy it, paste, and let's publish. Add session. Okay, reload, and there's my form. Or I can go back. So now everything is linked together the way it's supposed to be. The next thing that we can create is the ability for trainers to be able to see their messages. We'll come back to this data page later on. Okay, but for now, let's build a messages data page, which is pretty easy. When I go there, I should be able to see all the messages that people are sending me. So back to our data pages. Create a new data page. Reports, tabular format, hit next, based off of the messages table. Let's call this view messages. I'm going to use the same, let's just use the same style that we used before. I'm just going to use the one for filter button. Or actually, you know what? Why don't we just use find trainers here? I think that's fine. We can use that one. Okay, so view messages, English, restrict access, hit next. Let's have a search interface to be able to search messages. And we need to be able to use RLS to be able to see our own messages based on our ID. Let's search based on the name. I'm just going to include one field. You can include other fields if you'd like. You can have phone or email. Hit next. Let's use contains just to speed things up. We're going to use contains as our comparison type. Hit next. And then on the results page, we can have the name of the person sending the message. We can have the phone, email, date sent, and we can have the message itself. Let's have the ability to delete our messages. Let's truncate the message because I'm using tabular format. In the advanced tab, we're going to truncate this to only display maybe 40 characters, and we can allow the end user to expand or collapse that long text. And let's display 25 messages at a time. Let's have the most recent message first. And disable the details page and click finish. All right, so now let's deploy that data page, view messages. Copy it. Let's find our data page, view messages, and paste that here. Let's publish. View messages, move that here. And let's go to messages, and we should be able to see a few because I have some sample data here. And now as Sam, I'm logged in as Sam, who is the trainer. I'm able to filter all of my messages that are being submitted to me. All right, so we have officially hit 11 a.m. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to build all the data pages, but I'm going to give it another 15 or 20 minutes and see how we're progressing. Let me know if there are any questions, feedback at this point. Are you guys still doing okay with time? Just let me know via the chat window. Let me see how many more data pages we have left to build. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 6 more data pages, which hopefully won't take more than 15, 20 minutes. I think for the next data page that I want to create is on the home page. So here on the home page, the ability for people to find a trainer. Okay, so let's do that. Let's build that search interface. So on the public folder now, because that's going to be public information, we're going to build a data page. Reports. Let me just see what I used here in my live example for my style. Okay. So we'll use a gallery layout. We're going to hit next. Based off of the trainers table. Let's call this find trainers. Now for my style, I created this one here called find trainers. So that's the style we're going to use. English localization. It's going to be a public facing data page, so no need for authentication. We're going to hit next. Let's have the ability to search. And I want the results to appear on a new page. So we have to click search before we can see the results. We're going to hit next. And my 2 search fields we're going to use, I think I just have zip code field. Yeah, we're just going to use the zip code field to search. And we're going to be creating this field on the next page. So hit next. Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to have to use distance search by reference. Let me move this here. I may not have to use that field. So distance search, we're going to use the zip code field. Okay. And then for our geocode reference, we're going to use that table that contains 42,000 entries. So that needs to be referenced against. So we're going to use that table. Postal code will be zip code, and we're going to use our 2 fields for lat and long. Okay, we're going to do the distance in miles. And then for center of search, it's going to be a text field. And for distance, we're going to use a drop-down, custom values, and let's just say any distance. What did we do? Any distance as the first option. Delete the value. And then we can decide if we want 5 miles. Make sure you delete the value. You don't want to search against that. Just include the number 5. Let's do 10 miles. And let's just speed things up here and use 100 miles. But you can add other ones if you'd like. So no need for the zip code field here on the search form. We're just going to X out of that because this already contains my zip code field. And this is going to be my drop down side by side. And let's make it side by side. Like that. All right, let's continue. And in the results page, let's include the person's photo. Let's add the first name, last name, or in this case, we can actually include the full name. So let's have the full name. It's a little bit cleaner. And let me see if I want to include anything else. I think I'm okay with that. Just to, let me see what I'm using in my live example here. So I'm just have the first name. Okay, that's fine. Hit next. Next. So we're going to display this as an image. Let's have it be displayed maybe 125 width. Full name is going to be directly underneath that. And I'm going to add one HTML block down here to create my hyperlink to go to the profile of that trainer. So we're going to call this ahref equals view profile. Close the A tag. And then let me go ahead and make sure I have my right page here. We're going to call this one view profile. That's the name of my page. So view profile. View profile.html. And then we're going to pass the trainer ID. So TID equals, and then we're going to insert the trainer ID. Okay. So that becomes my clickable link to go to the profile page. We're going to hit next. Let's have a grid 4x24. We're going to hit next and disable the details page and click finish. Okay, so let's go ahead and deploy that data page. I'll get to that question in just a second. Let's go to our web page, find trainers, and deploy our code. Let's publish, reload, and make sure that page is live. All right, let's reload, see what happens. So we have the ability to search based on our zip code, any distance, If I hit search, I should, well, that field is required at the moment, 956. I can actually not make that required later on, but if I hit search, I'm able to see my profiles. And now I need to link my profile to the details page. So I click on the link to pass the trainer ID to be able to display the profile of each one of my trainers. Okay, so let's build that data page next. So first I'm going to move this one inside my public folder, like that. All right, so let's build that trainer details page. So reports, details, hit next. By the way, if you guys have to go, I completely understand. I know we're 5 minutes overtime here, so I appreciate you guys sticking around. But if you do have to go, feel free to plug out at any point. This video is going to be made available later on our YouTube channel, and I will include notes to all of the custom coding that I used in the video, so you guys can use it as well inside if you plan on recreating something similar for your own needs. So based on the trainer table, we're going to call this a view profile. And let's see, trainer profile, English. No need for restricting access. It's public facing. Hit next. Filter data based on the trainer ID. And we just need to receive the trainer ID externally as a parameter, which is TID. Value required. And now we're going to configure our details page. Okay, so what do we want to display for each trainer? So let's have the profile photo. There's one more thing that I forgot to do on my search form. I'll come back to it, okay? There's one more important thing that I forgot to enable. But we're going to have profile photo. We have first name or just the full name of the trainer. Let's also display the specialization, ed, certification, bio, maybe city, state, and zip. And actually we also need profile view. So I need to include this field in my profile. We're going to hit next. And for that field, we have a form element here, which is called page view increment. So every time that profile is viewed in the table, it's going to have an increment of 1. Okay, each time somebody views that profile. Profile picture is going to be displayed as an image. Let's have this be 250. We have full name, and all of the other fields we can leave the way they are. Let's have an HTML block to add a simple heading. Oops. So H2. View profile, H2. And now we want to be able to send a message to this specific trainer. Okay, so we're going to create a hyperlink here. Okay, and let's call this send message. Close the A tag. And my page is called, what do we call that page? So we called that, I thought I called it message. That's not messages. What do we call that page? Where is that page? Let me see. Hold on one second. View profile, send message, contact trainer. Do I not have that page here? Let me see. Contact trainer. Question mark, TID equals, and then we're going to insert the trainer ID. Because we want to be able to pass the TID or the trainer ID to the form to be able to send a message to that specific trainer. All right. Close that. Let's deploy it. Grab our embed code. Back here. And this one is called view profile. Here it is. Deploy that here. Paste. And let's try it out. So let's say we're looking at the profile for Jim Joyner. Let me go ahead and, I need to make sure that page is live. So let me go ahead and push that page. So it's called view profile. Okay, retry. Interesting. Well, for some reason, I have been disconnected and I can no longer upload my web pages to the server. I don't know why. For some reason, it has been disconnected. So we will go ahead and try this one more time here to see why it's not letting me connect. So my apologies, we have some technical difficulties. I wasn't able to show you how to put the profile data page here. I don't know why I've been disconnected here. Maybe something on the Caspio side. But the idea here is now to put that view profile page on the web page called view profile. Okay, this one here. There's my deploy code. And I should be able to see that data page here, but unfortunately I'm not able to access the host here. So let me go ahead and try that one more time. Let's reload. I don't know what happened. I need to check internally why it's doing that. But the idea was to move that web page here to the right, and now that web page will be live, and we will be able to see that details or view profile of the trainer there. Here's what I'm going to do. I have this entire application already developed in my account. Okay. So here on the home page, here's the entire application. I will make this application available as a download in the description of the YouTube video. So you guys can download the entire application. You can open it. If you choose to import this into your account, you're going to be able to see everything that I did on this application. So you'll be able to go through all the data pages if you'd like and see how they were created. I'm also going to include a user-friendly document that's going to let you know where all of this code is applied. Okay. And I'm also going to include a template. So if you guys want to practice with the video, you're going to be able to embed these data pages into the template, into those placeholders, and you're going to be able to see exactly what I did. Unfortunately, I'm having some internal issues here with the FTP client, and I'm not able to connect. So that's a bummer. Locally here, I can see my files, but I'm not able to push my files. I'll need to check with the team why that's happening. Yeah, so my apologies. And also, hopefully, let me see if I missed any questions here. Give me a second. Very good demo. Why didn't you use the Caspio to make the skeleton of the website? Is it irrelevant or just matter of time and CSS style? So we cannot use Caspio to create web pages. So we have to use an external tool to create web pages. So in Caspio, all you can do is build the functionality, all the forms and all the reports, but you still have to deploy those data pages externally to a website. Okay, so if you're using Weebly or One-in-One or GoDaddy or Yola or Webflow, these are all very easy to use website builders. You can use that to publish your Caspio data pages. However, if you are savvy with HTML and CSS, if you know how to edit your own HTML files, which is what I did for today's live stream. Okay, so I downloaded this template. Okay, this one here. It's a free download. The template came with all of these files. All I did was modify my HTML document where I plan on putting my Caspio data pages. That's all I did. Once I embedded my Caspio data pages, I used the FTP client to move my local files to my hosting provider. And in this case, the hosting provider is Caspio. We own this domain, sumapp.com. Caspio purchased that domain. We use that domain when we practice and we build proof of concepts just to see what the application is going to look like. So a lot of Caspio employees have that access to this sumapp, which is just sumapp.com. You can see, well, you can't see it now because I can't connect for some reason, which is really annoying because I was really hoping to finish everything. Yeah, thanks, Tracy. I appreciate it. Thanks for the feedback. If you guys like the format, maybe I can make these demos shorter so they're not as long, so we don't take up more than 1 hour. But I have so many of these types of applications that I can show you guys how to build, including some healthcare applications. If you wanted to see a patient portal where patients can log in and be able to look at their healthcare data. So if I log in as the patient, okay, I can see my profile as the patient, including some averages for my vital signs. I can edit my profile as the patient. I can go to my messages. So if my primary care physician is sending me messages, we can see our appointments, prior visits. We can see test results. But this is just the healthcare industry, one example of an application. If you guys would like to see how that's done, we can also tackle that in the next live stream. Not the next one, but the one after. Just let me know. Okay, so that's another thing that we could potentially build in the same type of format as today. Let me just check again to see if it's back. Nope, it's not back. Let me close it. Maybe if I close my... Yeah, let's close it. Let's try to reopen it. Do I need to upgrade it? I don't want to upgrade this right now because I'm going to require the credentials from our admin to help me upgrade this, because I'm not allowed to install this on my computer without the help of the admin. So I wouldn't even be able to update this right now. Ay, ay, ay. Maybe it was due to the upgrade. Log in. I am determined to finish this, even if it means going an additional 40 minutes to build this whole entire thing. So let me go ahead and just open up something here on my end. 1 second. Let me try to log in. Okay, we're in. How many people are still here? So I do have a few people interested in healthcare. Okay. Okay, trying to set up authentication from multiple clients and needs something on that subject. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Philippe. You guys want me to continue? Let's go ahead and just move that view profile here. Well, it should have. All right, well, let me see what it looks like now. So I moved my view profile here. Let me see if it's live. Let's go back to it, sumapp.com, MP, workout, index, and let's go and take a look. Search. All right, let's go view profile. All right, there it is. So now we have the profile, and now I can send a message to this specific trainer. If I click on that link, it's going to take me to contacttrainer.html. I just need to build a form now to send that trainer a message. So let's go back to our data pages, and let's quickly build that form. So view profile, trainer sign up, find trainers, contact trainer. Did I already build my form? Maybe I did. Let me look. Oh no, that's a different application. We need to go back to the other one. That's the live one that I demonstrated at the beginning of the live stream. We need to reopen this one here, go back to our data pages, and build that data page very quickly. Submission form, hit next. Messages table, contact trainer. We're going to use the sign up form style, English localization, hit next, and we need to receive all of these fields in our submission form. We're going to hit next. The trainer ID needs to be received, so in the advanced tab, we're going to receive that value externally, and the parameter name was TID. Okay, and instead of that being the dropdown, I'm just going to make that field hidden. Okay, now to notify the trainer via email, what you can do here is you can add a virtual field underneath that field and use a cascading dropdown method. So cascading dropdown. Okay, based on the trainer ID, that's the parent field. Lookup table. Let's look inside the trainers table, and we're going to look up based on the trainer ID to pull that trainer's email. Okay, so this field, which is using the cascading dropdown, based on the ID that's populated in that field, we're going to show the email for that trainer. And that's how we can use that email now in the next screen where we set up our acknowledgement email. So name, required, message is going to be a text area, phone could be optional, email is required, and date sent can be a timestamp. And now I want to use that email inside my acknowledgement email under messaging options. Let's use the virtual field, and on the next screen, we can compose our email. We can say no reply, new message. Hi, please log into your workout.com account to retrieve your message. Sincerely, workout team. And click finish. All right, let's deploy it. Copy. Contact trainer. Here's my placeholder. Paste. And hopefully, this doesn't give me any more issues. Contact trainer. Override it. Perfect. Let's come back to our website. Reload. And there's the form. But there's the email. I just wanted to show you how the email is displayed here in the virtual field because we use that email in the acknowledgement emails text field. So now when I hit submit, Jim is going to get that email to let him know, hey, log in so that you can look at that message. So basically the idea here is now when I submit this form, some random phone number, email, okay, hit submit. Your submission was successful. Once I log in as Jim, I'm inside a dashboard page here, but if I go to my messages, at the moment I'm logged in as Sam. I'm not logged in as Jim Joyner, so I could log out, log in once again, and if I log in as Jim, and we go to messages, I will be able to see that message now that came in. Okay, and that's the idea. Okay, all right, we're almost done. I promise we just need a few more minutes. We have all of our public-facing data pages created, except for one important modification here on the search form. Okay, in order to see just the profiles of trainers that are public and approved by the admin, I need to modify that data page slightly. So on my search form, okay, I need to include my admin profile checkbox and my profile status checkbox, both of these two checkboxes. And on the search field, all you need to do is make that field hidden and make sure that it's checked. And for profile status, make that hidden as well and make sure that it's checked. Okay. Now, when you hit search and you go to the results page, the only profile that's going to be shown is the one that's public and one that's approved by the admin. For my zip code field, I'm not going to make that required. I don't want to have to be forced to put in my zip code. You can make it required if you want to, but that's completely your choice. Finish. Okay, come back here, refresh this page, and now if I search any zip code, I can see the profiles. I can go to the trainer's profile. I can send him a message, fill out the form, hit submit. We can log in and we can retrieve all of our messages. All right, let's sign in. Now on the dashboard page, we need to create two data pages. One to view those boxes, which we use some simple SQL to pull data from our tables. You don't have to, again, just to go back to the comment that I had previously, which was I mentioned it was false advertisement. You don't have to do this. This is really just to embellish the application, make it look a little bit nicer. You can still display values and calculations using standard options and standard features in Caspio. But for those who want to take that a step further and just use some simple HTML and CSS, you can really make the application much more polished to make it look much more nicer. Okay, so on the data pages, inside a trainer folder, we're going to build a new data page here. All right, reports, details view, hit next. For my data source, it doesn't matter which one we're using here. You can use any one of these tables if you'd like, because we're going to be using SQL to link to a table to pull our data from. Okay, so for here, we're going to include just maybe the clients table. Let's call this data page view dashboard boxes. For my style, let's see if I have a specific style called dashboard. English, restrict access to trainers, and hit next. All right, let's filter our data. Okay, based on predefined. No need for a search form. Okay, no need for RLS. Let's hit next. Actually, why don't we, just to be safe, why don't we include the RLS as well, so that we only see the data belonging to that specific trainer. Let's hit next. For our filtering fields, we don't need to display anything here. Let's hit next. For now, let's just include one field because we're going to use HTML blocks here. Hit next. And then inside my very first HTML block, I'm going to disable my HTML editor. And let's go back to my notepad. And don't worry, I will include all of this inside a downloadable file. So please don't worry about that too much. We're going to include all of this code here. We're going to copy it and paste that here. And each one of these, I didn't have to code from scratch. I just copied and pasted underneath to make things easier. Okay? And all we're doing here is using the fields as parameter, which were going to be the calculated fields. Okay, so now I need to include my calculated field. And the first one can maybe calculate, let's see what I have on my live example here. Total clients. So now to add that SQL, you will type it out. I have it here already for me. I don't need to do it. So we're going to use total clients here. Okay, so we're going to grab that. Actually, we don't need the label above, just this line here. So this one is going to be for total clients. My table is now called _1. That's the name of my table. That's where I'm pulling the data from. So from that table, we're doing a simple count. So count the client ID in that table, where trainer ID equals the authenticated trainer ID. So whoever is logged in, we're going to just display the number of clients belonging to that specific trainer. Okay, and now what you can do is you can take this calculation and you can feed that into your HTML block. So for total clients, if you just remove this placeholder, find total clients, here it is, include that as a number and just paste it in there. Okay, for total clients. Profile views. Let's calculate that next. So we can also have a calculated field. All right. Profile views. In my notepad, I have it here. This is a simple one. No need to calculate anything here, really. And then we're going to include in our HTML block, invalid formula. Why is it invalid formula? It shouldn't be an invalid formula. Actually, we don't even need to calculate anything because we already have this field in our table. So I don't even know why I did that in the first place. In the HTML block, what you can do for total profile views is you can now include just that field. Wait a minute. Client ID, trainer ID. This is my clients table. Okay, I know why. Because my my data source table actually needs to be the trainers table because that's where that field profile views is inside. It's inside that table. So we need to pull that field from that table. All right, let's try that one more time. So here under profile views, here's profile views. We're just going to include that as a number. Okay. Next one is total sessions. So let me remove this. Okay, let's add another calculated field here. So we're going to call this total sessions. Oops. All right, let me go back to my notepad. Again, I will make all of this available for you guys to download so you don't have to watch the video. All right, so my table is called _1 for total sessions. And again, we're doing a simple count, session ID from the sessions table where the trainer ID equals trainer ID. All right, and now we can include that inside our HTML block for total sessions. Okay, as a number. And the final one that we have is just total messages. Same thing, just repeat the steps. Let's include total sessions, total messages, and we're going to include that one line of SQL, copy it, paste. And my table name is _1. And again, simple total count, message ID from the messages table where the trainer ID equals the trainer ID. And in the HTML block, we're going to include that as a parameter, total messages. Very simple. All right, and now what you want to do is you want to hide all of these fields. You don't want that to be displayed, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to include one more HTML block. We're going to move that all the way down. In the Advanced tab, let's disable the HTML editor, and let's just close that div. So div, and all we're doing is simply hiding it. And let's hope everything came out okay. We're going to hit next. No need to navigate to the next page. Let's hit finish and let's deploy our boxes. So deploy. All right. Inside the dashboard page. Here it is. There's my placeholder. Let's hit save and let's test this out. Hopefully everything looks okay. Oh, I need to push that page live. I always keep forgetting that. So let me now push my dashboard page live. And again, I'm getting the same problem. Again, I apologize for this. I will just close it once again. Let's try that again. So okay, so dashboard page, let's move that to the right, and let's reload. Perfect. I do need to make some modifications here. This I don't want to have digits after my decimal, so that's my profile views. That's how many times people have seen my profile. At the moment, we don't have any clients. If I go to manage clients, you can see there are no clients. I can quickly add a client, and then we'll be able to see at least one client visible. Okay, here in the dashboard view. Total sessions, we don't have any sessions because we don't have any clients, and total messages, we have 2. If I go to messages, I'll be able to see those 2 messages. All right, one final data page left. Thank you guys for sticking around. I really, really appreciate it. I know that we've gone way past our time. I didn't know how long this was going to take, so live and learn, right? So let's build one final data page. And instead of just building a regular pivot table, I'm actually going to show you once again using SQL how you can use a tabular report to do the same thing. So we're going to hit next based off of the clients table this time, because I want to be able to display the list of my clients, and I want to be able to calculate how many sessions per client and the average weight. So pivot clients dashboard. Let's use the style, filter button, that's fine. English, restrict access, hit next. No need to search data. Let's filter using RLS. Okay, we're going to hit next. And then on the results page, let's have the full name. No, this is the filtering field, sorry. We don't want to filter anything here. We're going to hit next. And then on the results page, we want to display the full name. Hit next, and now we're going to include a calculated field. And let's call this total sessions by client. And inside here, we're going to go back to my notepad, and let me find out one that calculates total sessions. Copy that, paste that here. Or basically, we're doing a simple count, session ID, okay, from the sessions table, okay, where client ID equals target client ID. One more for average weight. Let's include another calculated field underneath that. So we're going to call this average weight. All right, and then once again in the notepad, we're going to grab that, paste, verify. It looks good. Actually, no, I need to add _1 here. So _1, that's important. And I think I'm okay with that. I don't need to do anything else here, I don't think. We're going to hit next, next. No need for a details page. Let's hit finish, and let's deploy that data page. Here, grab our embed code, copy it. Paste that underneath our boxes. Save. Reload. And dashboard. Yes. So back on the website, let's reload that page, and we should be able to see no records found. Let me add a client very quickly here. So we're just going to say Sally Jones, height 5'2", weighing in at 115 pounds, calculates my BMI. We hit submit. Oh, this is a required field. Okay. All right. We're going to hit submit. All right. So now we officially have one client that we can view inside the results page. If I go to my dashboard page, I should be able to see Sally Jones. At the moment, she has 0 sessions. We can now see that we have one client. Average weight is 0. Do I have any more data pages to build? Manage clients. View details. Aha, we have one more data page to build, which calculates the BMI on the chart. All right, so one final data page left. Create data page, and we're going to build our chart, which is going to be a line chart. And let me look at my notes here to see what I used here as my BMI by visit, line chart, history log table. Okay, so this one needs to be based on the history log table. The history log table has all the updates per client, right? It's a one-to-many. One client can have many updates. And inside that history log table, we're always tracking the updated BMI for each client. So this is going to become a source table because I want to be able to, on the line chart, to be able to see all of the BMIs over time. So we're going to call this BMI by visit. The style that I'm using, let me see if I listed my style for my client details. Okay, so my style is client details. English localization, restrict access, hit next. Let's have, we need to filter our data based on the client ID. So we're going to hit next, and my chart needs to receive the client ID. In the advanced tab, receive the client ID externally as CID. Value is required. Hit next, and now let's set up the chart. So for my title, we can say BMI by visit. For my data source settings, let's have separate field for each series. And then for the x-axis, we're going to include the date field. Date updated or date created? I think it's going to be date updated. Whole field, that's fine. For y, no need to make any changes here. And then for my value, we're simply going to include the BMI field. And no need to calculate anything here. And we're going to use a marker, maybe just a simple diamond like that. So now that's going to give me, by visit, we're going to be able to see all the BMIs for that specific client. Let me just make sure everything looks good here. Hopefully everything looks good. Let's see. We're going to hit finish. Let's deploy. And inside client details, let's go ahead and paste our final deploy code. Refresh. Oh, again, I keep forgetting to publish my page. So let's come back here to my FTP client, and for my client details, let's push that to the web. Perfect. Reload. And there's my chart. Okay, so we recorded this BMI, on today's date, which is December 13th. If I edit Sally's information, and let's say Sally wants to gain some muscle weight, so now she's at 117, changes the BMI, we hit update, email field is required, okay, sallyj@client.com. We hit update, it's going to take me back to the details page, and perfect. Now we can see the BMI went up for Sally because we do periodic updates of the BMI as a personal trainer, and then we can track all of that information. Phew! I can't believe I did it. I managed to build all 16 data pages in 1 hour and 40 minutes. We did stumble a little bit over time along the way because I had some issues with my FTP client. But it's still pretty impressive that we can build all of this functionality in that amount of time. I mean, this is a solid application, fully functional. What's now needed is to just style the application to make it look a little bit nicer. As you can see in my example here, it looks a little bit better. Let's come back here. Let me log in as Sam. Sam has a few clients here, so Sam. All right, so you can see I have a nice button here as opposed to a link in the client details. Again, I'm using these buttons up here. Compared to the one that we constructed today, we have basic links, but it's the same thing. So what I'll do is I'll make all of this available for you guys to download at the end of today, and you guys will be able to practice and see how I did it, and then you can use that inside your own applications as well. Yeah, if you want to send me a quick email directly, just do me a favor, just send me an email that has quick questions. I won't have time to go over your tables and things like that. We do have people at Caspi who can help you out with that, but if you have something quick that you'd like to get answered, I will definitely help you out. Okay? we did stumble quite a bit on today's live stream. I do apologize. I really didn't know how this was going to unfold because I've never done anything like this before. And I do apologize if this may be a little bit overwhelming with the HTML files and some of the SQL that I used and HTML and CSS in the data pages. I know it can seem like a daunting task to create, especially if you've never done that before, but hopefully you can see the power of Caspio and how quickly we can build these applications with minimal effort. Okay, and I don't really have an extensive coding background, so take it from me. Okay, with just a little bit of knowledge, you can create something that you can later on generate revenue. I didn't connect this to a payment system. I also thought about on the home page, which would have been really cool, is to show you a Google map as well. So when you hit search, you see the trainers, but you can also see a Google map above. But then I realized that's really going to eat up our time, and I didn't do that. But if you want to combine that with the map and pinpoint the location of each trainer on the map, that's also a very useful implementation as well. Nazar, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I really didn't know what to expect from today's class. I just kind of went on a whim to see how this is going to go. But I've learned a few things myself. I kind of learned how many data pages I should limit myself to when it comes to 1 hour that I have. It took me 2 days to build this entire workflow. 2 days. Okay, 2 business days. So trying to condense that into 1 hour really is an insurmountable task from what I was able to notice in today's live stream. I was hoping I was going to be able to do it all in 1 hour, but it is what it is. But at the very least, you guys can watch this at your own pace. Okay, you'll have the template that you can download. I'm going to clean up my notes and let you know where I used each one of these codes inside what data page. And then you're going to be able to see in the web page, in the HTML document, you're going to be able to see placeholder text where you actually deploy that data page. Okay. And if you guys have never used an FTP client, it's really user friendly if you're looking to modify your own web pages. So if you're not planning on using Weebly, again, you don't have as much control. It's a great website builder, but you're limited in terms of layout and how you can structure your web pages. But if you learn some basic HTML, you can download these templates for free. You can edit the template using Notepad++. That's what I use. That's what I'm comfortable with. Each one of these web pages are inside this folder called Workout on my local computer. Here, the box to the left are all of your local files. So you can see inside that folder on my computer, I have all of my web pages. And all I did, once I save my web page, once I make a modification and edit, that's immediately saved over here, and all I do is push that web page to my hosting provider. And I've used one-in-one in the past. I've used GoDaddy. They allow you to upload your own templates if you'd like. You push your files to the web, you refresh the website, and you'll be able to see your data pages embedded. Thanks, Phil. Whew. We made it. We made it. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. This video is going to be available on our YouTube channel. So have fun with it. Pause when you need to. Watch it at your own pace. And definitely download the files if you want details on how I did it. Okay, but it's a fun app, you know. I use fitness. You guys can use something else if you'd like. If you're thinking about your own SaaS type application that you're hoping to develop. You know, this is just for the industry, fitness industry, healthcare and fitness. But you can rework this and apply it to many different types of use cases. You know, this is just something that I use today. Thanks, Benj. You wanted to stamp the full name in the form earlier. Was it because it was a formulated field, it didn't work? Oh, that's a good question, actually. Yeah, I forgot about that. So what did we do that? We did that on the data page. I believe it was add new session, I think. Right, let me see. Good memory there. I completely forgot about that. Where is new session? Add new session. So let me see, was it on this form? Sessions, full name, authentication field. Yeah, why am I not seeing the full name? Actually, let me see if I did something differently in my other application. Because in my other application, I was able to stamp the full name. I do know that. So let me see if I did something differently here. So, new session. So let me edit the form. Based on the sessions table, fitness training login, that's correct. Full name, that's correct. Full name. Oh, I needed to pass the full name as a parameter, not use the authentication method. Silly me. Okay, so let's fix that very quickly. So thank you for pointing that out. That's actually incorrect what I was doing that. So let's come back to this one. So what we need is to go to the one for view sessions. So let's edit view sessions first. As soon as I find it, view sessions. So inside that HTML or in the header page, we need to pass not just the CID, but I also want to pass the full name equals, and then we're going to insert the full name field and pass that as well. So we're passing the CID and full name. And then on the submission form, where we add a new session, we are going to not use that method. We're going to use the external parameter, and we're going to receive FN into a hidden field. Okay? That will stamp the full name into my sessions table. Okay? So that's correct. And I'm trying to remember why I did that. I thought I was using it for my oh, I did it for my chart, because in my live example that I built before, I built one more chart, but I decided to delete it and just stick with the BMI one because I didn't know where to deploy it. But the reason why I did it is if I build one more data page here, I'll show you why I did it. And if I build my bar chart based on the sessions, so sessions by client, yeah, sessions by client, use any style, I don't care, English, restrict access, no need for a search form, no need to filter. We should also just have this enabled so we filter our own client's information. And then in the chart page, what I did was I decided to use, so subtitle, sessions by client. Y-axis is going to now include the full name. This is the reason why I did it, because on the Y-axis I want to be able to display the name of the client, and then here we're going to just do a count. So we're going to count the client ID so that we can see highest to lowest in terms of, you know, which one of my clients had the most sessions. Okay, so simple chart, hit next, and then we can rank highest to lowest. Let's hit finish. And then when I preview my chart, and let's log in as Sam, you can see that Debbie had 3 visits and Larry had 1 visit. That's why I did it, so I can display this full name here on the left-hand side. Not because it was a formula field. The full name is actually in my other table of sessions. You will see here. In my other table of sessions, it's just a full name text field. And I planned on passing that formula as a parameter. Okay? But you're correct. You're correct about what you're saying there, Brian. Because it's a formula data type, I wasn't able to use the authentication method. So I had to find a different way, a workaround around that. So I just passed the full name as a parameter and stamped it into my sessions table. Okay? Yeah, good memory and good question. Actually, I completely forgot about that. My brain right now is all over the place because I don't feel good about today's live stream just because we did stumble here and there along the way. And so it is what it is. Can we use HTML data page on our home page? Yeah, you can do that if you want to. So if you're building an HTML data page, I've seen a lot of our customers create a navigation menu here. So they create, let's call this nav menu. And then you can either use the toolbar, you can disable the toolbar and just create your own custom navigation menu if you'd like. That's one way to use the HTML data page. Okay, so you can create your own custom navigation menu. Or the way I used it was to redirect the user. So in my HTML data page, I used one line of script, very simple script. You can find this in our knowledge base. So if you go to howto.caspio.com and you look for a standalone login. Okay, I'll share this link with you guys. Well, basically, that's all that script is doing. It's just window.location, and when you log in, it takes me to that web page. That's it. So I'll paste that link here so you guys can use it. So I want you guys' honest opinion. For those of you who are still here, just give me your honest feedback. How you felt about today's live stream from 1 to 10. Okay, 10, great. I really don't expect anybody to give me a 10. In terms of content, the flow, because it's important to me if I should continue using HTML files this way or if I should continue using Weebly to avoid having my own HTML files and using the FTP to push my files to the web. So I just need to get your guys' feedback. I know many of you have come back to these sessions before. 7, okay, thanks Mike. 7 is good. But, you know, at the end of the day, my hope here for you guys is to see how, once you get the hang of it, how quickly you can build all this functionality. I mean, this is a fully working application built in an hour and a half once you get the feel for how the Caspio platform works. That's the power of Caspio. If you were to hand code this from scratch, it would take you months to do all of this. But our data page wizard is our secret sauce that allows us to build these data pages quickly. Yes, we do need to know how to navigate the data page wizard and how to embed these data pages into our website. But once you figure that out, you can build some really nice solutions very, very quickly with minimal effort. I mean, I could go live with this today if I wanted to push this live and have people start using it. As long as I do my marketing and SEO, people will find my website. And if I'm a personal trainer, I want my profile listed here. I'll sign up. It doesn't cost me anything because it's just a freemium model, but I can connect this to a payment gateway. And if my website really takes off, maybe initially it can be a freemium model, but if my website takes off and now I have 1,000 trainers, maybe I'll charge a small monthly fee. And there you go. You can monetize and generate revenue. Do you do the advanced training sometime, which is on Thursday? So up until last week, I was doing the training sessions myself. But because my time is now being allocated to other things at Caspio, I'm no longer doing the training classes, but I will do the training classes this week as my last week. So I'll be doing the basic class tomorrow. Wednesday we'll do the intermediate, and Thursday we'll do the advanced session. And I'll be doing the training classes, and this will be my last week. And then starting next week, somebody else will be doing the sessions. Okay? But in the advanced class on Thursday, most of that class, what we focus on is how to pass these parameters inside a URL. So on the home page here, if I go look for a trainer, hit search. So what we learn in the advanced session, most of that class, we focus on how to pass those values in the URL. So when I click on that link, we pass the URL or the value as a parameter. And on the following page, we receive that value, and then we can continue passing that value if we need to other data pages. How many people in today's live stream have absolutely no coding background? You've never done any HTML, any CSS. Or if you have, just let me know. And just to go to that previous comment that I had in the chat before, I can build this entire application without any code. Everything that you see in my notepad here, I didn't have to use. I could have done all of that functionality without any of this. Okay? But in these live streams, I like to, show people the power of Caspio if you do use industry standard languages to a minimal effort. You don't even have to use too much of it. Okay, but if you just know just basics, you can really embellish and polish up your applications much more. Thanks, Ned. No HTML experience. I have nothing but what I learned at Caspio. Oh, okay. Oh, good. But if you guys want an easy way to learn, I'm self-taught in HTML and CSS. I didn't go to school for this stuff. One of the best websites that you can pick up some basic HTML knowledge in CSS and SQL is W3 Schools. Under tutorials, you can learn HTML and CSS. You can learn JS. Okay, you can do SQL. Okay, so if you just go to learn HTML, they have all of these tutorials here that you can learn on the left-hand side. Each category is something new that you can learn. And what I really like about this website is that every time you modify something in the HTML, you can try it yourself in real time. So if you make a change, let's say you modify this part of the web page. So you add start your trial, hit run. It just adds that text next to your heading. But every single HTML document starts with an HTML tag, and at the end you close the HTML tag. Then you have your heading, and then in the body of the document is where you have all of the content of the website, right? So if you look at my HTML pages, it starts with the HTML, and you close it with the HTML at the very bottom, right? Then you have the body tag, well, you have the head tag. So you have the head, where you have all of your CSS files, okay? The CSS is what gives the colors and beautifies your web page. And in the body, you have all of the components that make up your web page. Okay, all of the boxes where you put all of your content. Okay. Oh, it's late for you in Denmark. Yeah. Yeah, I know Europe right now is under severe lockdowns. It's crazy. I'm originally from Eastern Europe myself, former Yugoslavia, but been in the U.S. for a number of years now. And I'm constantly talking to my family now in Eastern Europe to see how what the situation is like. But pretty crazy right now what's happening with the riots and protests and things like that. I don't want to get political, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyway, Brian, thank you so much for attending today's live stream. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. I'll keep the chat going for a few more minutes if you guys have any last minute questions. Thank you so much for attending. I hope to see you next week as well on Monday. It's definitely not going to take 2 hours next week. We're going to keep it within 1 hour or less. Okay, but if you guys like the format, we can continue to do it this way. Again, in the future. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Stay safe out there. I'm going to go ahead and keep the chat running for a few more minutes. Have a good day.